is to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast.
Oh boy. Let me tell you guys. This is about to be an episode of group therapy, if you will, on tonight's edition of the Lautimes podcast. Because man, Tigres, dare I say, is a club in crisis right now. And we're gonna try to make sense of it all here on the show. The only show talking about Tigres in English in the world. Thank you for joining us as we try to, understand what the heck is going on with this institution in every way, shape, and form. I'm Dennis. I'm the host and producer of the show. Joined tonight by the legend himself, down in the 325. Not the 325. The what's it? I don't even know y'all's number code like that. Hold on, give me a second. I don't know why my brain went to Abilene for like 2 seconds. Anyway, this is Lou from Austin. What's the Austin zip or the area code?
512.
512. I don't know where my brain went 325. Freaking college days. Anywho, you know him, you love him as Tigres_English. And for now it's just us two. Hopefully some of our other lads will join us later. We're here to talk about depressing stuff, aka Tigres, specifically Tigres men. We'll talk about the ladies as well tonight. Thankfully, a little bit more positivity on that end of the fray. But thanks for joining us. If you're watching live, come hang out and chat. Come vent with us, rant with us. Tell your friends to come rant with us. Tell your abuelas to come rant with us. Let your people know about the show. Give us a retweet, a repost. Share the link with somebody. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. Do all the things if you haven't already. And all my podcast people, thanks for listening. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And let us know your opinions as well in the comments if you're a Spotify listener. Ay. Well, my friend, we're gonna try to be as level-headed, I think, as we can tonight, as much as we can be. But as evidenced by the background that we have, this club is a dumpster fire. Literally, everything feels like it's exploding. Involving this team, involving this squad. Further emphasized, further evidenced by what happened at home on Tuesday in the Leagues Cup finale against Vancouver Whitecaps. Looked like we were heading towards a win and heading towards qualification in the Leagues Cup quarterfinal. One bad defending moment in the box gets us to a tie. And then crap hits the fan, literally, with 2 red cards in pretty rapid succession, both for pretty ridiculous reasons. Both because of boneheaded decisions by the players who got red carded. Not because of the referee, even though the referee, was not very well applauded by people in our circle either. So I don't know. There's a lot to break down about the Leagues Cup run. Tigres are eliminated from Leagues Cup. If you guys haven't figured this out by now, they will not qualify into the quarterfinals. That was confirmed last night based off results. Finishing with 3 draws in a row, 3 penalty shootout wins in a row, only 6 points, and a pretty disappointing end to the tournament. That we, have some stakes in. Not a ton of stakes, but it's a tournament that some of the fan base likes, some of the fan base doesn't like anyway. But that doesn't matter. What happened on Tuesday needs a lot of explanation, needs a lot of analysis. And so, my friend, I'll kick it over to you so that you can kind of help us start to make sense as to what the heck happened this League's Cup run and what the heck happened in the second half of that game on Tuesday night in Monterrey.
It's just more of the same. I think we ended on a terrible note last season against Chivas, where defensively we were overwhelmed and didn't have any answers, didn't have a response. I thought the attitude from the squad in that Chivas game was terrible, and I think it's carried over into this season and into this tournament. This team lacks discipline. Defensively, we don't have great structure. The back line tends to make a lot of mistakes. And this was a tournament where I feel like we had an opportunity to win all three games. They were all three were very winnable games, but we failed to do anything to deliver. We haven't won a game in 100 days since May 5th, and then we played a team in Minnesota United that hadn't won a game since May 3rd. And so we were facing a team that honestly isn't great offensively, has a lot of holes, doesn't have a very deep roster, doesn't have a great roster to begin with. And it was an opportunity for us to come out and win it, but we continue to make mistakes. And then I feel like now our defensive woes are also turning into offensive woes. I feel like there isn't a trust between players anymore. I think they're losing confidence. It's quite a bit of a mental hurdle now for them to overcome. Sometimes I see them not making the runs that they normally would have made, and so passes are not going to players in positions where we can have opportunities to generate danger. So there's a lot of concerns. I mean, we we were going home, and I was very confident that at home we would be able to basically reset ourselves, kind of change the mentality a little bit, but we continue to struggle. We got a good score, and I thought for a little while there we did okay in dominating possession, but our back line let us down again. If you go back and look at that play where we gave up that goal, we had numbers in the box. Literally, it was there was five defenders against seven defenders against five of their offensive players, and one of them was sort of out of the picture. And so there's no reason why we couldn't protect that set piece. There was nobody in the far post, so it tells me we're uncoordinated. We're not playing the right zone on those set pieces, and it's becoming a mental issue, an issue with intensity, with focus, and it's frankly a big concern. We are in desperate need of a coach right now. Nothing against the interim coaches, but they you can't expect them to come in and do miracles overnight. This is a team that needs discipline. I think this is a team that needs a heavy hand, almost like we need to go back to the Tuca days, right, where it was a heavy-handed coach, instilled a lot of discipline in our guys. I think we've kind of lost our competitive spirit. I see a lot of guys not hustling, giving up on plays, just a lot of things to be concerned about. And then what happened in the second half is just unacceptable. We went after the ref, and I understand that ref could be challenging because he does get up in your face. He does do a little bit of barking back, and he can be a little bit intense and a little bit annoying. But we're at home, and we shouldn't put ourselves in situations like that. I mean, it turns out that what Aquino told him was basically sort of insulting him, telling him, "Hey, it looks like you want MLS to win, right?" And that kind of comment,
Linus, you mean Linus, not Aquino.
Linus. I don't know why I'm thinking about Aquino. Maybe because we need him right now. But yeah,
Shoot.
Linus, just out of frustration said that he got the red card, and then Nahuel continues to make terrible mistakes in situations where we're losing games. This isn't a first for him. He's done it plenty of times, and you just can't do it, bro. You can't push the referee. You can't get your hands on him like the way he did. He's claiming that he didn't see him, and I just don't buy it. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it just from all the angles I've seen, it appears to be deliberate, and you just can't do it. And so, we basically shot ourselves in the foot and had no opportunity to really come back in this game. The few positives that you can take out of this is that we won 3 shootouts in a row. One time we kept a clean sheet. But other than that, I think this is a team that lacks depth. It lacks a coach. It lacks a center forward. And now, from the looks of it, with Ozzy Herrera coming off injured, surprise, surprise, it looks like we're going to need a left winger now, too. So, a lot of work for the front office. And from what I'm hearing, they're not planning on moving quickly. It's possible that we don't get the reinforcements we need until, from what Vladi was saying, possibly week 6 or 7, which by then the season could potentially be over. So expect a bumpy ride ahead.
Well, I would even go further and say that the team doesn't have a coach. The team doesn't have this, that, and the other, like you said. The team doesn't have an identity currently. I don't think there's no, like, what is Tigres? I think there's an identity crisis within the team, in large part because of all the change that has happened over the last, few weeks and couple months. You're starting an era without, the guy who was the face of the team for the last 11 years. And in a lot of ways, he was the identity of the team. Andre Pierre was. Now that he's not in the fold, what is the identity of the team? I'm not sure what that is, because it seems like the players don't know. It seems like the front office doesn't know. It seems like nobody has a plan to figure that out currently. And if there is a plan, it's not a good plan because it's moving real slow, right? Like it seems like everything is getting dragged out like so long. This coaching situation should have been handled already, right? Like most clubs in the world who operate at a high level, they figure out their next coach within like a week max, right? Like they don't really take their time like we have, right? And here we are 2 weeks since Gil Pizarro resigned. And I know that they were caught off guard by that. They even have come out and said that, the front office has. But still, it's like you gotta act with some urgency, because like you said, like we may be out of this before it even gets going. Like we may get to the Clásico here in about a month, which may I remind everybody, we play the Clásico in about a month. And we may already be toast, right? Like we may just be completely gone from anything, at least this current Apertura season. Here's what I'll say about the Nahuel and Lainez situations. It sounds like, or it looks like in the video, like the good video that we saw of Lainez talking to the ref, it seems like he said something after the MLS comment that I think really like got the ref going, because I don't think he was going to give out a red immediately. Like he was going for the yellow, and then I guess something else was said to provoke the red. So I just wonder what that was. The Nahuel situation, man, it just kind of further confirms my thought process of maybe it's time to, end the era with him. Because unfortunately, as much as we love him, as much as he's a legend for us, and that will never change, I think ultimately he's doing, Austin should have scored that. Ultimately, I think he's doing more harm than good, both for himself and for the team. And listen, at 40 years old, with all the experience in the world that he has, you gotta handle that situation better. You got to know what you're doing better. Like, that's inexcusable, and nobody's like disciplining him for that currently, because there's nobody else. There's nobody that can do that within the confines of the institution. And so now, I mean, don't be surprised that this dude gets. I mean, they were talking about he could get suspended 15 games for what happened. I don't know if that means like league play or Leagues Cup specifically, but like he could get suspended a long time for what he did on Tuesday. It's just everything that happened on Tuesday between those two things, the crowd being really empty, like the emptiest the Volcan has ever been in a long time. In a long, like even Gonka games against like Forge aren't that empty, bro. Like it has never been that like just dead inside the stadium in a long time. And I think that says something about how the fans feel about what's going on with the team. It's just not good. And then obviously, you know, there's this talk about there was some stuff said between some of the front office and the fans, like within the stadium, like some stuff happened there. Wheelie was talking about that. I don't know what he was referring to. I need him to spill the beans on that. Everybody knows about what happened on Twitter with the spaces stuff, and Bayo came in and said his piece and then dipped, and then Gignac was in there listening, and oh my, it seems like everybody on Tigres Twitter was on, except for us. I wasn't on it. Was on that Twitter space, just sharing their opinion. This is a really dangerous spot that the team's in right now, and in some ways, thank God we're not dealing with promotion or relegation in this league, because I would be concerned if we were dealing with that. This is not a good team. It's not a good moment for the club right now, and this Leagues Cup just further proved that. 3 winnable games, and you could only get penalty shootout wins out of all 3 of them. I think that says a lot of it about where we are. Like Tuesday, you should have won that game. They don't have Thomas Muller. They don't have Kubas. I don't think was on the team either, or on the team sheet. Brian White wasn't on the team sheet. Like Vancouver was missing key players, and you can't win that game against their BC team. It's tough, man. It's tough. I want to get to some comments here real quick before you keep going. AJ, once again, out here with the chat instead of just joining us. I'm kidding. We love you, dude. No true leader on the team in any way, shape, or form. Coaching, players. By the way, I got some stuff to say about Gorianan later, about his and how poor he's been. I'll save that piece for later. AJ also said second guessing in the final third. Team doesn't seem to trust Aguirre. I mean, who does? Why would we want to have trust in Aguirre right now? What has he done to earn that trust? I don't know.
We've lost all the players that had led us to all these championships. That generation's gone, bro. And these new cats that are here, they don't have the trust from the fans. They haven't done anything. The Aussies, the Gorriarans, the Brunetas, the Araujos, the Joaquims, the Suarez, they haven't won anything. So there's no reason for the fans to trust them until they prove that they can get it done.
Yep, agreed.
And when you dump so many leaders in such a quick time, you've lost Carioca, you lost Aquino, you lost Gignac, you lost Pizarro. A lot of these guys that had that DNA, the winning championship DNA, you've lost them. And now you have a bunch of unproven players on the squad. There is reason for fans to be concerned and upset. And then add to that the fact that this is basically a new club president that doesn't have experience, that hasn't navigated these waters. It just piles on the fear from the fans. And kind of just adding to to one of the points that you brought up, Dennis, where you mentioned that the front office in the press conference said, "Oh, this took us by surprise." Honestly, it shouldn't be an excuse.
Yeah, 100%.
I I expect the front office, Gerardo Torrado primarily, to be in constant communication with your coach. You should have sensed at some point that the guy was burning out. It happens in every corporation. Your boss sits with you and says, "How are you doing? How can I help you get your job done?" And you mean to tell me that Torrado never had these conversations with him? And if he did, that he never spotted possible burnout from Pizarro and frustration of not having signings? And then when he leaves, then all of a sudden you're like, well, we had no idea this was happening, and now we got to go get a coach, but you're moving at a snail's pace to try to go get the coach that you want. So there's a lot of concern, and then the fans, obviously, since they don't trust this front office, then they're worried about this front office not making the right decision, right coaching hire decision, and add to that the fact that we don't have a full squad, a full roster. There's a lot of key players missing in key positions. It just there The front office is not giving you anything to look forward to. It's a team that's in full mode crisis and then moves at such a slow pace that, like we've been mentioning, I mean, this isn't the first night we've mentioned this. We mentioned this before Leagues Cup, that potentially by the Rayados game, our season could be toast. And all this issue with the fans kind of infighting and going after reporters and getting mad at each other, it's not productive. There's nothing that we gain as fans from it. You know, they're going after the Libres y Locos, they're going after Pello Maldonado. There's nothing to be gained from that. And the only outcome that could proceed from this is that it potentially could lead to violence in the stadium. And I mentioned it because I think it's a concern. I think the next home game, you could potentially lose against Atlas or tie or not get the result that you want against Atlas on the road. And then you're coming home, you're going to have to up security, bro, because there's a lot of upset fans. And so you're going to have to make sure there's more security on hand, maybe cut off the drinking at halftime so people can kind of sober up before they leave. They're going to have to get smart, because if they don't, then you could have another situation on your hands where there's fighting in the stands, and then now the league gets involved and they're looking at it, and
And
who knows what's going to happen.
it's not like they give us slack
No,
historically.
no. The league would love to just drop the hammer on us if anything like that happened. And if it were to happen, you can only blame the fam the front office for it, because they have to know what's going on. They have to know that there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of angry fans, and they didn't do anything to try to improve security at the stadium. So we're not we're not prone to violence. We're not a fan base that's notorious for acting up in the stands, but I think that's something that the front office needs to look at closely and monitor closely, especially if we continue on this downward trajectory. They're going to have to look at security at the stadium to make sure that, at least on that end, we're doing it right, making
Yeah.
sure we keep our fans safe, that it remains a family environment, and then just hope for the best and hope that our fans don't act up. I'm hoping that they behave themselves, but that's something that you need to watch out for. Angry fans that have been drinking all game, things could happen. You just got to watch out.
Let's shift the conversation in a different way. I kind of want to talk about a few players for a second. Um, Taking Leagues Cup as a whole into account, Who, if any, probably the list is very small, but who, if any, do you think has raised their stock based on the last 3 games? And maybe give me one slash probably multiple who their stocks are down.
Juan Bruneta for me was exceptional. There was can't remember the account name. It's not Data Ref. It's Statistics put out a rating today where they ranked all the MLS players and the highest offensive rated players. Number one was this guy playing right now, and Brian Rodriguez.
Uh huh.
And second place, not too far from first place, was Juan Bruneta. But Juan Bruneta has been exceptional. I think he's been the one bright light for us. And to me, I like what I'm seeing from Alan Franco. Alan Franco is showing leadership. He's a lot more vocal than I thought he would be. And I think he's making an effort to try to keep this back line organized somewhat. Uh, like I mentioned earlier, we've been a mess since the Chivas game defensively, and I think he's trying to be the one guy that sort of directs traffic, makes sure everybody's on the same page, and hopefully something good comes out of that. So to me, he's raised his stock. I think Chicha, even though he didn't have a great game at home against Vancouver, I think he's one of those guys that I look for him now to get more minutes at that left winger position, especially now that Ozzy shown us once again that he can't stay healthy. So Chicha is that 1/3 guy that I would add that his stock has gone up some. Honorable mention, even though he hasn't gotten any minutes, but Enrique Simeone had a great tournament with the under 23s. So just keep an eye out on him. If he keeps that good streak, maybe he could potentially turn into a good holding mid for us. Just kind of fingers crossed, but that's just a name to watch out for. As
I
far
want.
as
I'll bring him up
go ahead,
later.
go
But
ahead, go ahead, go
yes,
ahead.
I said I'll just bring him up later when we talk about lineup predictions for the Atlas game. Gling, gling.
To me, the guys that have dropped off
Everybody
considerably,
else,
Gorriaran for sure. I think if you're wearing the captain's armband, I expect more out of you as far as leadership, and I think he's crumbling under pressure. There's been several occasions where the stakes are kind of high. There's bumpy moments of the game, and he just fades, or he's too emotional. He just he just doesn't have the leadership qualities. He has a lot of effort. He moves, but he's just not cutting it out for me as captain. I think that to me, if I'm the next coach coming in, I'm giving that to Alan Franco. I think he's shown enough to be like, let's hand it over to him. We did great when we had Juninho as captain, so I would love to see another center back captain again. So Gorriaran, put him on top of the list. El Cachete Araujo has been another one that's been very disappointing to me. Um, I think I have to blame it on lack of competition there. I think he knows it's a guy who knows that there's really nobody behind him. Just because I feel like the coaching staff that's there currently doesn't like the style of Zwarg. Just like Pizarro didn't like his style, where he's just your destroyer type of holding mid. Um, so I feel like Araujo's too complacent. Another one is Garza, bro. I feel like Garza, same thing. Lack of competition. He's made too many mistakes. He doesn't contribute offensively as much as he was doing last season, for example. So those three guys have been my biggest disappointments. Obviously, I'm disappointed in Loroña. He's been terrible defensively. Um, I could throw in a few other guys, but to me, those three are the ones that have disappointed me the most.
all three of the Uruguayans have been very disappointing for various reasons, and you can tell that this team really misses Jesus Angulo from a leadership perspective right now, because if he was healthy, he would be wearing the armband every game instead of Fernando Gorriarán. Because, like you said, Gorri not only has his play dropped, but his leadership has not been very effective. And I think you have to change something up in the midfield between both him and Araujo both not being good. I think you have to change something up in the midfield. We're slow, we're not generating enough. Just feels like everything they do is very predictable. Just doesn't seem like it's effective either. I have a solution to that for the Atlas game here in a little bit, and this is also why you have a. This is also why you brought in Alan Franco, right? To like relieve Romulo a little bit from having to play center back and allowing him to play a little bit further up as the holding mid. Which, by the way, as you mentioned, Franco has been really good. I think until further notice, the center back partnership going forward needs to be Franco and Joaquin, because it's worked. I mean, that even that goal that Vancouver scored the other night, like that's a tough goal. Like it's a
Oh
hard
yeah.
goal. It was at an angle. Did we defend it great? No, but it's a hard goal to make. And they didn't really generate, especially in the second half. I don't feel like they generated a ton of stuff. They did some of the first half. I feel like those two together complement each other so well. You roll with it for the time being and you don't switch it up. And you don't put Romulo there like as a result. Like you let him play further up in the midfield. You switch it up in the middle of the park and you go from there. I think you even get more defensive solidity that way, because Romulo's so good at stopping plays before they really develop. We've seen that in his time at Tigres and with multiple different managers at this point. I think if you let him be a little bit further up as opposed to being the last line, I think that even stops some things from happening and kind of shorts up some of our defensive problems a little bit, not entirely, but I think it would help a lot. So, um, one guy you didn't mention that I'm going to mention is Diego Lainez. Can you tell me the last time he had a goal contribution?
Oh man, the
Because it's been a while.
I want to say that the Chivas first leg at home.
Oh man, not even close. Not even close. The last time
Further
he had
back,
the last time he had a goal contribution was when we played America last season in February, in late February. He had an assist. That was the last time he had a goal contribution in any game, in any competition.
wow.
And we have not been talking about it enough. That's not acceptable for your starting right winger. It's not acceptable.
But here's the thing, Dennis.
We don't have anybody else. So it's like, what else can you do? Words are hard. But also, if you're the only guy, then do something. And before then, I'm just going back a little bit. He went 2 games before that America game without doing anything. And then he had 2 assists against Forge in the second leg. Okay, so I mean, you and I could have gotten an assist against Forge, especially at home. Then before then, he had a goal against Santos in that goleada. And then he got a goal and an assist against Leon. And then before then, the last time he had anything was the first leg of the final against Toluca.
So good end of the season and good start of the season, but then faded after that.
Faded bad. And mind you, February 28th. It is August 13th. That is almost 6 months without a goal contribution.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Stocks down. Way down. I don't know what we can do about it, but stocks are way down. Stocks, if you will. Where's the stocks meme at? That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sums up where we're at, bro. I think that's that's sadly where we're at. We're a team that generates very little football, and defensively we're a mess. So you can't win games like that. That's why we haven't won since May 5th because we're not helping ourselves. I mean, you could live with these defensive errors if your team was scoring 3 a game, right? I mean, that would definitely give you a good chance if your offense was just amazing, right? But the way we stand right now, we're generating less and less chances. We look less dangerous every game, and defensively, we just haven't been able to clean it up. And you just can't. I mean, I feel like you need to do that same exercise with Ozzy, bro. I mean, that guy fades a lot too.
Osiel
You you
Herrera.
you you talk about him as the MLS merchant, but he didn't show up against
He,
RSL,
he,
Minnesota, or
yeah, he did not have a good Leagues Cup. However, he has scored this season. He scored in the first game, and then he had a goal assist against Mazapan back late in the season. Obviously, had a good Champions Cup campaign. Very good. I mean, he's not good in the league. I mean, I look at his league performances. Last time he scored a goal in the league that wasn't that Tijuana game was when we lost to Pachuca the week before we played America.
back in February too.
Yep.
So you have your two starting wingers that between them have generated in league play only one goal since February. You just can't do it, bro. I mean, look at
Yeah.
America. Look at America right now. Look at the way Brian Rodriguez is playing and
Violante's playing well.
Sendejas. Good teams have good wingers, and we're at the point where we don't. So somebody sent out a message about and be ready to take a shot. Luis Quiñones.
Cheers.
And honestly, bro,
Dude.
like we might have had it good.
Ah, man. Looking back on it now, man. Cheers. Too bad he's like ancient now, so it actually
Yeah, I
wouldn't.
mean, there's no going back, obviously, but man, do
It's
do
tough.
we even know who the coach is going to be yet? We don't even know that either.
No, and I want to touch on that quickly. Vladdy said something interesting last night. There's been a lot of noise about who is like not on the list, right? I think most everybody understands that Juan Reynoso's out. Some people have said that Osorio's out, but
Bello.
Vladdy said that he's still on it and that there's still some conversations going there. If you had to, you know, gun to my head, who's going to be the manager right now? I think it's obvious. It's like the likeliest guy out of anybody is Oscar Pareja. I mean, that's the guy who keeps getting floated more than anybody.
And that's what Bello said, that he's the front runner right now as it stands. But did you notice that Vladi mentioned that there is a third one?
There's a third, and he hasn't said the name yet.
And the name is unknown.
Yeah,
Which that's intriguing.
I need Bayo to like come out with that name tomorrow.
Because sometimes it's that third guy that comes out of nowhere that nobody had him, that the front office kind of kept hush hush because they didn't want to ruin that negotiation, and it ends up being that guy.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm curious to know. This is a great shootout, by the way. I'm curious to know who that third name is. Hopefully, one of these other reporters will drop something about that soon. I mean, I would like to think that they're gonna have this done in the next few days if the list is this tiny now, but at this rate, we may come back here in a week. and still be talking about why we haven't had a coach yet.
I expected them to have this finalized right before the Vancouver game, where, hey, we've got a name. This is the last game that the interim coaches coach. We're starting with Atlas. New coach comes in. Now that it's not done, I have a feeling we might not be debuting a coach until Rayados game. I'm not sure what's holding up negotiations or what's going on, but so Austin just won the shootout.
Yeah,
Does that mean they're in?
they're in. Yeah, good for
Does
them,
that
man.
does that kick off LAFC?
It should. It should. I will look at the live table here in a second. Yes, and Chicago's winning right now against Cruz Azul too. So yeah, that should probably mean LAFC's completely out. I mean, that's what they get for not beating Queso Querétaro.
For real, bro.
Cheese FC, bruh. Crazy.
Hey, but to be fair, we couldn't beat Querétaro either. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we already knew that. Hey, let's talk a rumor. I know we're kind of going everywhere at this point because this is just how tonight is. A rumor that popped up earlier in the week about a certain player with Premier League experience. I don't know how credible this rumor is. I need one of the other journalists to figure out if there's actually some traction to this thing. But Hwang Hee-chan, current
that
player
would be
of
lovely.
Wolves, is apparently on the radar of Tigres. Apparently. I don't know how much
Allegedly.
there. Yes, allegedly. He is a player. He's 31 years old. 30, 31. So he's
30.
not
I believe
ancient.
he's 30, but he'll be 31 soon, I think.
He can play off the left. He can play as a striker. He's got when he's healthy, when he's right, he's got some pace, some explosion. He's got really good shooting ability. He's a pressing monster.
Hey, you know who just scored right now?
Lewandowski? No manches, tu gemelo. Perra madre. Oh, Lord.
Why wasn't he scoring that when he was with us, bro?
Bro. Chihuahua way. That's crazy. I don't know why my TV just blacked out for a second. I can't even watch the game. Anyways, so he's apparently on the radar. Wolves have been trying to offload him. There hasn't been a ton of traction to that, apparently. Oh, are you sure he scored? He looked offside.
Oh, he is off.
It's a good goal, fair. I don't know.
No, I think he might be on, bro. There was a second touch.
Yeah, that makes sense. We'll see what they say here in a second. Anyways, Hwang Hee-chan. You don't like? Thoughts?
I like a lot, bro. That would be an awesome signing for multiple reasons. Obviously, his talent, but we also, for those that don't know, in Monterrey we have a large South Korean base, and I think it would be nice to bring in a South Korean player to have some, build up some South Korean fans for the team. I think that would be a no-brainer. I think for multiple reasons. Attract a different set of fans.
Ooh, that replay's tough. I like his versatility a lot. The fact that he can play both on the left, which is something we desperately need, and as denied, which is something that we desperately need. Check off a lot of boxes. He has a motor that is endless, it feels like. The only problem is that he has a little bit of an injury history over the last couple of years, but he's usually pretty productive when he's on the field. And mind you, he's been doing this on a Wolves team that has been, now they just got relegated from the Premier League. They're not even in the first division anymore. but he was productive throughout his time there. And even last year when he was coming off the bench, like he wasn't putting in bad performances. So it's not like you're getting a scrub who's like rusty and stuff. I think he'd be a good fit for this team. I mean, obviously we could use talent at this point, especially up front in the attacking areas. But I also think that, in the league, I think that he would find some success as well, um, because of his versatility and his ability to, you know, play multiple positions and press and deal with physicality. I mean, the Premier League is a very physical league,
Yeah.
and the Mexican league is also a very physical league. So I think that he would find a lot of good things here, um, should he come. So I hope that there's some merit to that rumor, because I think that he would be a huge win as far as the signing goes for this team. He is under contract, but I think he has a year or two left on his deal at Wolves, and I don't think he would cost that much, um, especially for a guy, you know, playing in Europe, international experience. I think that with the Correa money, right? Like we could use most of that towards him. And I
Yeah.
think Wolves at this point, because they haven't been able to find anybody already to, you know, take him off their hands, I think that they'd be willing to, you know, take sort of a lower deal for him. So hopefully we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, there's still possibility that we lose Correa. If you get 15 mil out of that, then now
You
you're
mean
looking at.
Brunetta?
I mean, Brunet. I'm off with the names today, bro. Brunetta. I was hoping that we would offload Herrera too. At this point, I think we've gotten everything we could squeeze out of him. And if we're truly in a rebuilding phase at this point, there is no denying it. I think that this front office tried the let's transition slowly from this older generation into these to the new generation, but I think it's not working. And now it appears to be it's a full blown overhaul of the squad. And if you intend to do that, I think you need to start looking at Ozzy.
Yep.
Quite honestly, maybe even Diego Lainez, and just look to part ways because you've kind of seen their peaks already, and they're not that high.
Yep. I mean, what did we just talk about? They have like one goal contribution between the both of them in ages.
And you've got a player who honestly you can't trust to stay healthy at all. He went off limping this last game. Who knows how long he'll be out? Could be 4 weeks. What's the point, bro?
Yep.
I think you need to start looking at players that can give you a full season's worth of work. And so it's gonna be a long season. I think I was hopeful that with what the front office had done, we would be able to build around Correa. There was something there for a little bit, and I think once Correa left, the dominoes sort of all started falling. And I think at this point, you have to start with a good coach, a coach that trusts the youth system, and go from there. Start building around a coach that you trust, but you can't miss, bro. You can't miss with this next coach because
Yep.
if you do miss with this next coach, then you're looking at possibly another next year we're having the same conversations, right? The team doesn't look good, they're not informed, we don't have a coach when and you're just extending the misery. And and that's why I harped on it last time we met is we if it takes us a long time and we get it right, then I'll applaud the front office. But if it takes us this long and we miss with the coach, it's going to be really tough for everybody, the fans, the players, the front office. It's not going to be a happy next 6 to 12 months. We'll see what happens from there, bro. But I mean, it's just we're gonna have to hang on tight because it's not looking promising right now. And I think anything can happen in sports. Miracles do happen, but I think the season's pretty much over for us.
What did you say earlier on Twitter? The curse of the.
The curse of Siboldi, bro. I think we're gonna be talking about it if things don't go right. I think it's gonna just get louder and louder, like the
Listen,
like the curse of the Billy
uh,
Goat, bro, and the
uh,
curse of the Bambino.
Bambino. Listen, here's what I'll say. The only thing that gives me hope is that there is no sport where things shift quicker one way or the other more than football does, more than soccer does. And I feel like as quickly as things have kind of gone down the drain, I do feel like things could quickly go back up. But again, as you mentioned, everything has to go right. The coaching hire has to go right. And then if you're able to bring in a refuerzo at this point, I mean, we're running out of time. But if you're able to bring in somebody, they also have to be the right pieces.
Let's assume we do get Pareja. What do you think happens with under Pareja?
I'll be honest. I don't understand the overwhelming pessimism that comes with him. He has done a lot with not a lot available to him. Like he's the type of coach that gets more than what the roster thinks it could. Like FC Dallas when he was here, because I was in high school when he was the coach here. That team was young, a lot of guys just with not a ton of experience, but they ended up being the Supporters Shield winners one year. They won an Open Cup. Those Orlando teams when he was there, like they were more talented than those Dallas teams, but they weren't never really the best team in MLS. But they were always solid. They won a US Open Cup out of it. He's not a bad coach. Let's not get it twisted. He's not a bad coach. Is he the best option out there? No. But it's not like things are going to completely hit the fan, I don't think, if he arrives. I do think that we should go after other people. But honestly, I'm not going to be upset if he ends up being the guy. Because I know that at least he's a serious coach to some degree. Yes, his time in Liga MX was not great previously, but he's also never managed a club as big as Tigres before. And how does that help him? How does that influence what he can do? Is he able to be even better because he has, in some ways, more resources and more visibility? That's a question worth asking, in my opinion. Again, I don't think he's the first option, and I don't think that we should be super thrilled about it. But let's not act like the world is going to fall apart if he ends up getting hired.
I think the criticism coming from our fans is based on what they've seen at his time at Cholos.
Yeah,
They don't. A lot of our
completely
fans
understandable.
didn't watch him with FC Dallas. They didn't watch him with Orlando, and so they're just going off of that small snapshot. He failed, obviously. I think he reached Liga first season, and then second season everything fell apart, like it usually does with most Cholos coaches. I mean, the only two semi-successful coaches they've ever had is Turco Mohamed and El Piojo Herrera that had moderate success. But so it's hard to. Chicago just scored, huh? Does
Uh-huh.
this does this knock Cruz Azul out, or are they pretty much in still?
I don't know. I don't know because the goal differential.
Yeah. Can't remember if they were at +4 or +2.
Keep going.
So, well, my other thoughts are I'm with you. I would not be wrecked if that's who the front office comes out with. He's a serious coach. I think it's worth a shot if it happens. Full support. My question with him is, will he look for the towards the youth team, try to get somebody out of there? Because I think at this point, the way we're so pinched and tight with money, that's the next step, logical step, is instead of buying up players left and right, we start to pull from the youth system. And my question is he that type of coach? I don't know. I don't know if you have the answer to that, but to me, I think the next guy that comes in is gonna have to start tapping into the Simeones, into the Chichas, the Diego Ramirez type of players,
Yeah.
and try to develop them because I think it's gonna be important.
Yeah. He has a history, especially when he was with Dallas. Has a good history of getting a lot out of younger guys. There was some older guys that were around when like the prime of that FC Dallas tenure, but he had a very young. I think Jesus Ferreira was very young, or maybe that was even before. Um, I do remember most of that roster being younger though than you would expect. And FC Dallas has always been that type of team to be a tiny bit younger as well. So um, Orlando is a little bit more of a not aging roster, but it was a more of like guys who are in their prime per se. I mean, he he's a guy who was able to get a good bit out of Cachete Araujo, right? Like Araujo had some good spells with Orlando the last couple of years because of the coaching of Pareja. So again, it's not the flashy hire. It's not ideal, I would say, but again, it's not the end of the world. But I think hopefully this third name that we keep getting you know talked to you about, maybe that's the person.
We'll see. The one guy that if he comes that I hope he brings with him is Martin Ojeda. It would be kind of cool if he could
Yeah.
grab somebody like that. But I
Yeah.
mean, this is all just speculation now.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Let's shift gears. I know we're still watching Leagues Cup currently, but let's shift gears away from Leagues Cup and look ahead to Saturday at Atlas, where I feel like two things are going to happen. We're going to struggle, and somehow Juan Purata is going to score a goal. La ley del ex.
He's
So,
gonna turn into prime Baresi or prime Italian Beckenbauer or whoever
bro,
Italian
freaking Van
defender you want
Dyke,
to throw.
bro. He's going to turn into Virgil Van Dyke on Saturday and put in the game of his life. Chingao, bro.
Yeah, you know it's coming. And then they have a good goalkeeper, so
Yep.
it's gonna be a tough game for us.
And they have a good coach. He's new, but I like what Crespo's doing so far, honestly. Um,
Now they are coming off of a relatively poor Leagues Cup.
yep.
They and then if you look at their last 4 games, they've lost 3 out of the last 4.
Uh,
But in league play, they're doing well.
yep.
So we'll see what Atlas team shows up, but I think this is going to be some carryover from what happens from the frustration that we saw against Vancouver. And so we'll see what happens there. I'm not too high on that game, but we're going to learn a lot about the boys in this next game.
Yep.
If they crumble, or if they're going to pick themselves up and continue to at least battle.
Yeah. Yeah, and they better show some heart. There's a lot of hearts you got to win over currently with the fan base and even within themselves, right? Like they know that obviously they know that things aren't going well. Got to do what you got to do to make the best of it. I
Just want to take a
think
little time out for our sponsors, bro.
a la madre. This guy, unofficial sponsor. Hashtag. Is it good?
It's really good, bro.
Okay, fair. So I think Cruz Azul's out. If my calculations are correct, the neighbors are moving on.
So Cruz Azul's out and Rayados are in.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Because I think they have, yeah, on goal difference by 1. Or
So the
no,
way
no. The goal difference is the same. I'm sorry. They've scored 1 more goal.
so that's going to be the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Goals for or goals scored throughout the tournament. So Leon is gonna finish in first. America's second. Toluca's in third, and the neighbors are fourth. So Cruz Azul and Juarez both are gonna miss out.
That's a good set of 4 that Liga MX is bringing in. Liga MX might win it this time around. We'll see.
Yeah. I think Chicago is gonna be the best because this game,
Chicago looks good, bro.
Chicago is gonna finish first. Austin finished second. Columbus finished third, and RSL is gonna finish fourth. That's crazy. RSL didn't even look that good when we played them, and yet they're moving on. How wild is that? So if my calculations are correct, Leon is going to play RSL. Chicago is going to play Rayados. So Kuipers gets to play his old team. America's going to play Columbus, and Austin's going to play Toluca.
That's some good matchups right there.
Yeah.
Really good matchups.
Back to the Atlas game. Lineup predictions. May I propose lots of changes? Here's what I think. I mean, you have nothing to lose at this point going this way. So here's what I think we should roll out with. I assume Nahuel, despite his payasadas, is going to be allowed to play Saturday. I assume. I mean,
yeah, it's not a Liga MX tournament.
Yeah.
It's considered a international tournament, so
yeah, considered a CONCACAF
it shouldn't be carried over. Just like the CONCACAF suspension doesn't carry over. So now Wes is basically going to be out for a long time in both tournaments.
Yeah. Anyways, let's assume he plays. I would keep Paco at left back. I've one guy I forgot to mention earlier. I think he's been solid, especially defensively. Obviously, he's not been great going forward, but who has? You keep the center backs the same, Franco and Joaquim. And as much as Chewy has been kind of bad recently too, I guess he keeps his spot at right back. I don't love that, but it is what it is. Here's where we get crazy. All right. Give me in the midfield. Double pivot, Romulo and Henrique Simeone. I don't care, bro. I don't care. Reward the kid for having a great tournament and because we need youth minutes with a start. I don't freaking care. You put him next to Romulo, he'll be fine. I don't care. Say that's your double pivot. Up front, where it gets dicey, obviously. Obviously, Juan Bruneta. is going to play the 10. Lainez is fine, right? No injuries with him.
No injuries.
Okay, so he'll play. Sure, he'll play. And then Chicha Sanchez will play left wing. And as much as I think Buffalo Aguirre is going to start, I'm going to say the same thing about Simeone, about Diego Ramirez. Screw it, man. Have them both start. Who cares?
It's not happening, Dennis.
I know it's not happening, but let me have my moment.
That's the one disappointing thing from this interim coaching staff that I have not liked is they had a chance to change the status quo to say we fully support our youth academies players, and they didn't. They have done absolutely nothing to mix things up. They basically kept the same starting 11 that Guido Pizarro liked to use. And it's I don't know if that was an order from up top, say, hey, don't mix it up too much, just keep the same 11. But you have nothing to lose. And at some point they should have just been like, hey, you know what? We're youth academy coaches and we're gonna make a statement. And that means play that kid on the right, what's his last name? Gal,
Galvan?
Gal, Galvan, Chicha, and like you're saying, play these kids in the pivot. But to me, I think it's going to be the same starting 11 we saw against Vancouver, and then they just start Chicha because Herrera's injured. Otherwise, Herrera would have gotten the starting job.
I hate that you're going to be right, but
I hate that I'm going to be right because I think it's at some point you need to shake up the team a little bit and say, hey guys, unacceptable, right? And one way to do it is just sit them down, make them watch the kids play, and just tell the kids, hey, give me effort. But I don't think there's anything in place to say that we're going to get anything different.
yep. I mean, if you were really crazy, you'd sit Joaquim, bring in Rafa Guerrero, really rack up the youth minutes in this game, play all the kids. Put De Maria y Campos, longest last name to ever exist. Put him out there. You know? Just don't expect it to happen. Really wish Marco Farfan was healthy. We don't even know what his status is. I'm really upset that we don't have like a clear answer as to why he's still been out for this long.
And the guy's stock has dropped, bro, because now we know that he can't stay healthy either. That's I didn't put him in my disappointing stocks are dropping list, but you could easily throw him in.
Yeah.
He lost the entire last season. Then you had an off season to get ready, and then the first thing you do is get injured again. I mean, I don't want to be too harsh. Injuries are tough, and the kid doesn't want to be injured. But it from a fan perspective, it is a little bit disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very tough. Predictions for whatever the heck is going to happen on Saturday? Are you gonna be positive?
I think we're gonna keep the ties going. I think it'll
right.
be a 1-1
Hooray.
game.
Whoopee.
If you're a glass half full type of guy, then you could say, hey, we haven't lost in the last 3 games
against MLS teams. Hooray. I'm not hopeful, man. I'm not. But anytime I say a negative prediction, it ends up being the opposite. Ends up being positive. I say we lose 2-0. But I say that with the hopes of maybe we win or get a draw, because historically that has happened to me. So
Yeah, I think you said it best. You just never know with with Liga MX and how things turn around. But I am thinking about the mental aspect. I think we're in a big hole mentally, and that's tough to climb out of. It's tough to get your confidence. It's tough to trust the system when you don't have a system. You just
right,
lost a coach and you brought interims who are basically saying, let's just keep it the same. So you lose vision, you lose what you're trying to do out there. And I think we're a little bit lost. We've lost the compass. But we'll see. I think this game is going to tell us a lot about this team, where they're at as far as attitude's concerned. If if we get a loss and it doesn't look good, then you can almost say that the boys packed it in already. But if they continue to battle, they're in the game, they get some kind of positive result, then you go, okay, there's something there. They've got some intestinal fortitude, and that's something you can work off of. But there is just a lot. The players look frustrated. I mean, the way Noel left the other night, the way Lanes left, the way Gorriaran left, plus a black eye. I mean, so let's just see how it goes. Let's see if these days of rest get them going back up again, and mentally they're sharp. But it's tough. It's tough to get out of that hole.
absolutely. Game should be on TUDN on Saturday for those of us here in the U.S. who need to find out where it is we can watch it. I believe it'll be on TUDN. So plan accordingly for very anti-Tigres bias commentary as well. Hooray. Okay, let's shift gears to the ladies, who thankfully there is some positivity to talk about with them. Went on the road on Monday this week. Tough game, physical game, game where we should have had a lot of more goals, but you end up getting a win um, on the road against Leon. Thought it was a not obviously not a great performance by any means. I mean, when was the last time Tigres Femenil had a great performance relative to opponent? Um, I mean, I know we just beat a team 8-0 last week, but they might be the worst team in the league. So I don't know. Um, I thought the girls had some flashes here and there where they looked all right, and you know finally got rewarded for some of the chances that they were creating in the second half. We're thin with the girls too, but there's still some character, some fight with the team, um, and obviously you've got attacking options that can win you games just with their individual quality. Um, Diana Ordóñez, Maria Sanchez, you know, they can make stuff happen out of nothing. So, um, going 2 for 2 in the league so far is something that we expect, but it's nice to see that they were able to get that, especially after how it seemed like things were going towards the end of that game on Monday before Alexia scored the winner.
Bit of a frustrating game for me, just at times the dip in performance. Defensively, I'm still a little bit worried about them, especially transition defense when we're in a high line and we're attacking, and then we switch the face of the game where we now have to defend a counterattack. We're very vulnerable, and at times Leon, had they been a little bit sharper, they could have made us pay for it. Thankfully, we did just enough to get the result, but I think that's something Pedro Losa is going to have to look at, that transition defense, to make sure that we don't get caught. You can get away with it against teams like Leon, teams like Puebla, but once you start playing the better teams with better center forwards, they're gonna make you pay for that. And so that's something we're gonna need to sharpen up moving forward. I think we're taking a page out of the Tigres men's side where we take moments of the game off, where mentally we're not checked in, and that also causes defensive errors. So I want to see them put together a full 90. The Puebla game is not a good game to measure by just because there's such a poor team roster wise. So I think there's still a lot to fix and sharpen up. And like you said, we're kind of depleted right now. It looks like Themby might not be coming back soon, which is a concern. If we're without her for another 2-3 weeks, that's not great for us. I think at this point we should have already had all our players ready to go, even our signings. That's also been worrisome. The fact that there are positions that we haven't filled and that we desperately need to fill. So I mean, we're in good we're in good shape in the sense that it's still a very competitive team. The league, for its most part, hasn't caught up with us, right? The Leons, the Pueblitas, the Necaxas, the Querétaros, they don't have the resources to be up there with us. The big question is, and the most important question is, can this team battle for the trophy? And I think the answer as the roster sits right now is no. I just don't think we have enough pieces. And ultimately, that's the question the fans want answered. Can we get a good roster together to be able to once again bring that cup home? And I mean, no matter how good your season is, I know we're in a very favorable group with not a ton of competition in the group. So potentially we could put together a great season, come out great. But when it's crunch time, what's this team going to do? And I think that's what got me worried, and I think a lot of the fan base too.
How frustrating was it to see uh Massimo signed by another team after practicing with us for the last week or so?
I can't believe it, bro.
Dude, that's
Like
crazy.
what went wrong? Like
Yeah. What
the only
happened
thing I
there?
the only thing I can think of is that Pedro Losa said, she doesn't fit our system. She doesn't mesh well, or I mean, it was hot in Monterrey these last couple of weeks. It could be that, but the heat, the temperature doesn't make sense to me because she played college ball here in Austin, and Austin's very hot too.
Well, and she's been playing at Dallas.
So to me, that wouldn't make sense. I think might have just been a fit issue where she didn't quite fit in with the squad, and Pedro Losa said, we could do better. And
Or
then,
maybe her agent was like, I think I can find you a better situation.
yeah, either way, it's a little disappointing that we couldn't land a player. Normally, we're the squad that does, but I think everything going on with the institution is finally starting to take a toll on Tigres Femenil too.
Yep. Which, speaking of, we did not get a chance to talk about this last week because either it broke on the air or while we were on the air last week and we just weren't looking at Twitter while it happened, or it broke as soon as we got done recording last week. But Jenny Hermoso is officially not with Tigres anymore. She has left the club. Her contract has been terminated, and she's on the verge of joining Atletico de Madrid, if she hasn't already, which I don't think she has officially. Um, your analysis to that news, something that we think kind of saw coming based on just kind of how things were going with her absence and all that, but ultimately kind of sum up her career with Tigres.
A good signing. I think it was a good bet by the front office to bring her in. I think she did for us a lot of things on and off the pitch. I think for what she did for the brand, I think was very important. The exposure she brought to Tigres. She's a huge name in women's football, and she was able to shine the light on us through all her appearances and trophy ceremonies and everything. So I think that was very important. On the pitch, she was able to bring some hardware home too. I think she is a player that chemistry wise got along great with all of our players. And on the pitch, I think for a while we looked great with her. I think she's a player that eventually age started catching up with her, and the way things were going in the league, where as a whole the league is getting more physical, faster. I think it started to affect her game, and we slowly started to see a dip in performance. I think it got to the point where I feel like she was no longer the best for us as far as keeping her in a starting role. And we talked about it a little bit last week, but I felt like she was demanding the ball too much at times and taking touches away from other key players, and that affected our offense and our ability to score. I think our transitions were slow. And so I think we reached a point where it was good to part ways. It was good for her, it's good for us, and ultimately the decision was mutual. I think the club was okay with it, she was okay with it. We parted in good terms. Definitely wish her the best, and I'm thankful for everything she did for the club. And that gives us an opportunity to go after a foreign player that fits our style better and can adapt to this league better. Perhaps somebody younger with better pace, and I think that it's a good decision. I think it's good for her. I think she's got a lot of stuff going on off the pitch, some interesting projects that she's got going on. So I think she's slowly transitioning away from being a football player and possibly thinking about the business side, the professional side of the game, and I think she's a person that down the road you'll probably see her with some business ventures, perhaps sporting director type of role. So she's definitely going to be a name that stays connected to the game. But as far as Tigres is concerned, I think we had reached a good parting point.
Yeah, I don't think her tenure was a failure by any means. Could there have been more? Yes. But ultimately, like, she won a championship, brought the club more exposure, seemed like a good fit, like with the team. Like, I thought she had a lot of great chemistry with a lot of the girls, handled her business well, was a professional throughout. You, just stylistically, like, yeah, there was some issues, sure. But also, I felt like she played out of position a lot when she was here. Um, she's not a deep lying playmaking midfielder. Like, she's better suited as like kind of more of a forward, you know, um, especially at her age where she doesn't have to run a lot. Putting her in the middle of the park kind of makes that not as effective for her. But ultimately, like, I don't think, you know, we can be that disappointed in what she did during her time here because she helped bring us some success and um, made the club more well known to people across the world, um, especially with her presence with the Spanish women's national team. So I hope she does well. I hope that she's able to make the World Cup roster for Spain next year, and I think that's part of the reason why she's going back to Spain is to try to fight for a spot on that team next year so they can maybe repeat in that tournament. So um, we'll miss her, but ultimately, like you said, I think it's the right time and it's the right decision based on where both player and team are currently at. So we have a foreign spot open again, and hopefully this front office does something about it. But again, just like with the guys, they've been really, really slow with the topic of refuerzos with femenil. So
There was quite a bit of buzz going on this afternoon because Jennifer Corginali's agent is in Monterrey. So there's all this
ah,
speculation and rumors going around. The question being asked is she getting a contract renewal, or is this it? Is her agent coming in because she's trying to find her a new place soon? I believe her contract runs through the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken,
okay.
and players are free to negotiate once 6 months is you reach the 6 month point away from the end of
Uh,
your contract. You're
yeah,
now able to start talking to clubs and looking at your options. So keep an eye on that. We're not saying anything either way until we get more news, but that's something, the story that's kind of developing, and we need to look at, because if she does end up somehow leaving, that's another foreign spot and a big hole to fill.
big shoes. Big shoes to fill, and I hope that it's for a contract renewal. That would be awesome. But we'll see. The girls play again on Saturday at home against
Juaritos.
Juaritas, if you will.
Juaritas. Juaritas.
A team that is a is an annoying like insect
A
to us.
thorn
A
at our
thorn.
side.
Yeah. They're not fun to be around, not fun to play against, and thankfully we're at home, but I don't think it'll be in many cases a very enjoyable game.
They love to make us suffer. They love to make us lose our mind. I think they play us very physical. Every time we've played them, they foul hard. They bump. So we'll see. I think we were probably gonna experience more of the same from them. But we are at home. I think if this game was on the road, that's always a catch game. That's always a game to
Right.
watch
Trap
out
game.
for, trap game. But I think being at home, we have the edge. We just it's gonna be one of those where it might be a little slow to break that defensive wall. But once we get through, I think it should be a game that we control. I don't know if we're doing predictions, but if we are, my predictions is gonna be 3-0.
Okay. Go for a nice 2-0.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. Last thing, and then we'll get out of here. Not directly related on the field, but hopefully you guys have been keeping up with the merchandise side of things this week as the away kit dropped here in the States and in Mexico. You can get it pretty much anywhere, both authentic and replica for short sleeve. Um, the long sleeve is just in replica here in the States. Um, and the Adidas Originals collection, which looks fantastic, is also out now. So check that out. There's some new shoes to look at this year as well. Those shoes are apparently only available in the States right now, unless they are actually available in Mexico now. But they were only available in the States for a couple days. And there are rumors going around that we should be getting a sponsorless jersey soon, which would be wonderful for both home and away kits. And if that happens, and it's going to be authentic, it's not going to be replica. And if that happens, if they put that sucker out on the long sleeve for the away, I'm there. I'm buying that immediately.
The entire line is just amazing.
Yeah. Kudos, man. Kudos to Adidas. They treated
If
us right this year.
if you're listening to us and you haven't seen it, go check it out. The entire line is just awesome. The colors really pop. Everything looks good. The pullovers, the short sleeves, The pants, the
Yeah,
shoes look really awesome, bro.
really good. You buy them yet?
Not yet, but I am gonna pop on it.
Okay. What all have you gotten so far?
Just the home stuff.
Okay,
I
you haven't
haven't
gotten
I haven't
anything.
gotten any of the away line.
Okay, but you will.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah, normally I don't the Adidas Originals unless I really like it. I get it. But for example, I skipped out on the home looking one that has the you guys call it the Germany one, but I call it the America 90s look. It just I didn't.
The
It
one
looks
from
okay,
yeah,
but it's just it looks too much like an old America kit from the 90s,
yeah.
and so I didn't get it. But
Did you get the home looking kit from last year? The Adidas Originals um with the collar?
no, I missed out on it. I wanted to, but I missed out on that one.
Hmm.
That one was spot on.
Yeah.
That one was really spot on, but I waited too long and then they didn't have my size.
Ah.
And then
Yeah,
I
it's
had my cousin went to Monterrey to the Tigre tiendas and he didn't find it in my size anymore either. So,
hmm.
and I think even Alfred tried to check it out and no go. So that's the issue sometimes when you wait a little bit too long and you wear the customary more popular sizes, you risk that
Yeah.
of them running out of it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, if you do see that one, let me know in
Okay.
Excel.
Yeah. I was looking at a store the other day, actually, and I don't know if they still have my size, but maybe they have XL as well. I'll look at it and I'll let you know. Uh, off site. Um, but it looks really great. Go check it out. Go spend your money and let us know what you got. That'd be awesome. Anything else? Are we good?
I think we're good. Let's see if we get any coaching names popping. The well has gone dry for players. I have not heard anything. Allegedly, Jovic is still on the table,
Still, wow.
but for example, left winger. Allegedly, the club is looking for a left winger, but there hasn't been a single name dropped.
There's no plan,
Well,
bro.
we talked about Chan,
There's no plan.
but that
There's no
was that rumor you brought up earlier. That was not from any of the credible sources,
Yeah,
and so
correct.
so it's completely dry.
Yeah. I would do throw a bag at what's his name from Querétaro, the striker.
The kid,
Yeah, Avila. Is that
yeah.
his name? Dude, just throw like 7 million at him. Like here.
Honestly, you could do it for less if you wanted to. Querétaro would pop for 4.
Yeah, what's there to lose, bro? What's there to lose there? He's Mexican. He's young. He's got talent.
The front office has kind of missed out on some stuff because didn't Lukaku just go for 6?
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, Turkey probably paid him a bag in salary. I don't even want to know what his salary's like for his new team.
Yeah, but we liberated quite a bit of salary too ourselves.
Yeah,
In this last year, there's a little bit of room for
for a
salary.
big. Yeah. Again, there's
Some
no plan.
somebody crunched the numbers and they're not entirely right, but they're kind of in the ballpark and it was at 40 mil.
Again, there's no plan.
I
We're lining
worry
we're
I
lining
worry
up their
about
pockets, bruh.
I worry about our scouting department, bro,
Same.
because it feels like
No
every other
vale
scouting
madre.
department is outworking us quite a bit.
Yep. They it just feels like they're sitting on their butt, not doing anything. But
I want to talk about the youth system, maybe perhaps the next pod if we don't have too much on the agenda, but something I brought up many years ago when Arnoldo was still around, but I want to bring it up again because I think now
Who?
it's
Who's that?
even more relevant.
Ante perdido ese güey.
The founder, bro, the founder.
Founder perdido. That's all I gotta say. No, we can carve out some time for that for sure. All right, well, let's get out of here and end this therapy session once and for all. Thanks everybody who joined us live. Chat was dry tonight. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Where was Drieger? This
I
dude
was
just
just
didn't
about
even
to
show
ask.
up. Bro just disappeared for the
Unexcused
night.
absence.
Come on, man. What are you doing? You're like half the reason the chat exists sometimes, bro. Where you at? Anyways, next time we're live, if you're watching live, come hang out with us in chat. It seriously goes a long way. All my podcast people, thank you for joining us again. As always, let us know what you think. As always, follow us everywhere we are. All of our accounts. Look at the show notes. Look at the episode description. Do all the things, you know. We'll be back. Not gonna lie to you guys. I don't know if we'll be back on Thursday. May need to bump up the next episode up to Monday because I don't know if I'm gonna be home in time to record on Thursday next week. So we'll let you
Monday
guys know.
works.
Yeah, well, we may have to do a Monday episode, but we'll keep you guys posted accordingly, and hopefully we'll have some answers with this team. But at this rate, who knows? So, as always, thanks for supporting. Let us know if you want to help us out and get involved with the show. And we will see you guys next week on the Lautimes podcast. For Lou and for me, Dennis, thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody. Arriba la U. We'll talk to you guys in a few days.
Peace.